Hey folks, Brad here with the Maritime Paintball Podcast, and every once in a while an event happens that becomes a bit more than the sum of its parts. In the month of May, the Woodsball World Cup 2021 was held, and one team in particular drew a bit of attention. This team was aptly called the Band, and it was all because a couple of veterans of our sport wanted to get the band back together. In this case, the band consisted of members such as Bud Orr, Fred Shultz, Cesare Pizzo, Andrew Starrett, just to name a few. So to tell the story of the band, and to tell a couple of stories from the Woodsball World Cup, I was joined by Cesare and Andrew. So, without further stalling, let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 288 of the Maritime Paintball Podcast. My name is Brad Odell, and with me I'm joined with two members of the band, which is a paintball team that I was super excited to see get back together, and I have a whole bunch of questions and all this stuff. So I expect to hear all sorts of great stories from the Woodsball World Cup 2021 in New York.
Correct. Yep.
Look at that. I did my research. I know what I'm talking about, or at least I can look like I do. So Andy, Cesar, thank you for coming on. We were going to have Charles on, but apparently his equipment doesn't work well enough.
It happens.
It's right, exactly. One of you just have to talk enough for two people. I'm sure
That's
one of
not
you
a problem. We got Cesar here. We're good.
No. Andy's got that covered. We already had this conversation, Brad.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, while he was getting in the car to leave before the show even started, it was a good time. I want to talk about. Well, first let's talk about you guys. We'll start with Andy. No, we'll start with Cesar because Cesar has to leave soon. So Cesar, why don't you just explain a little bit about yourself, a bit of your background. I'm gonna poke some questions at you, and then we'll talk about Andy.
Well, I've been playing since '88. Basically, I started in the Woodsball, as everybody else with pumps. My first experience playing in the woods got me hooked. A buddy of mine asked me to come play, and I used a pump gun. I was up in a tree, and I ended up, sitting down from the tree, and he come down across the trail, and I said, "Hey, Doug." He looked up. I shot him in the chest, and I was hooked. He let me just try his Spitfire, NW Spitfire back in the day.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. You were up in a tree? You climbed a tree?
It wasn't that big of a tree. I mean, six to 8 feet.
See, more fields. Okay, I get like insurance and what and all that on not fun stuff. But more fields need to let me climb trees. I would have a blast.
But
just being up in the top of a tree.
This wasn't technically a rec ball field. It was a subdivision that wasn't made yet, and we all went and played in the subdivisions.
The glorious outlaw fields.
It was basically backyards woodball. I mean, because back in the day, what do we have? One or two around here. We're talking '88, so
right, yeah. So it was still trying, like the government was still trying to shut it down.
Yeah.
Back then.
So, yeah, but basically that's what I did, and let's just and then I had my my store, my teams, Detroit Fusion, all that. So, yeah. But then, go ahead.
Sorry, because I was just looking for fun little tidbits to ask you about. But your name popped up alongside the words "world's most expensive paintball marker." There was a gold-plated one. What was that about?
Well, just around 2000, 2001, when I was making the Super Cockers, people are saying, "What's the most expensive gun you can make?" I said, "I don't know, maybe a gold-plated one." So I made 4 of them.
I made 4. No biggie. I just, gold-plated 4 markers.
It wasn't like I was going to make one. I'm like, let's just make 4 of them. Because chrome plating was the gold plating was so expensive that to do one gun was just as much as to do 4 parts for 4 guns. So I guess
it all just goes in the tank, right?
Yeah. Yep. I have one of those here that's it belongs to a buddy of mine in Florida, and he sent it up to me to get refurbished and everything. I did the pneumatics, a barrel, a trigger frame, a beaver tail, There was just a few parts that I did was 24 karat gold plated.
That's awesome. I want a gold plated marker. I want a gold plated gun. That'd be great. I'm gonna fake it. I'm gonna get like the Canadian Tire like gold spray paint or something and totally fake it out. It's gonna be awesome. And you're with Ultra Silk too, right?
Yep, that is the company that rebirthed my reinsertion back into paintball here within the last 3 years. Besides building the Supercocker 3 years ago, I ended up building 15 2020 Supercockers. So, and those were all $2,500 guns, and they were all one of a kinds. They're all one offs. There's not one the same. And reason being is when I got together with Gann Meteor, that they said, hey, we can do this for you. And people were asking me to build them guns from all the parts that I had. So I kept building parts and selling parts. And then I said, screw it. I'm just going to get a body and build a gun, and getting hooked up with, Gant and Fabrice. And, we built the 2020. So you're going to hear it here first. I was in contact with Fabrice here today. So I've got 15 more that I'm going to build. They're going to either be the 2022s or possibly a 2024. By the time I'm done with everything, I'm going to probably releasing them in 2022.
Damn. Can you set up financing? Because I don't have like $2,500 to drop on.
Yeah, right?
So
like,
basically that's, and then I had to come back with, when I was at Lone Wolf because I do all my builds at Lone Wolf. I did not open up my own facility. I didn't try to get them.
Wow.
So the guys at Lone Wolf said, hey, why don't you just come work on your workbench? We still have your workbench here. Just, do everything here. So I just started building all my guns back at Lone Wolf, and those guys brought me in, and I've been teching all my guns there, building all the guns. And Tony one day, Tony Angelari one day, he's like, hey, remember that lube that you used to use back in the day? I said, yeah, what about it? He goes, what if you could find that and get it back going again? I said, I have to see if I can find the recipe or see if the guy that can make it or what's going on with that, product. Well, I happened to go back to the engineer that had it, and he found the formula in a box.
Just randomly, just a piece of paper in a box.
It was written down in a box, and he's like, hey, we can make this happen. So I made it happen, and then we added another SKU, and we added the boom juice, and all of it is a proprietary product that penetrates the metals, and it leaves a dry film of lubricant on the metal. So you're not just lubricating, you're impregnating the metals, and that's what makes it super slick. And that's where Ultra Silk comes from, because it's silky smooth after it's done.
Gotcha. It's getting into the grain of the metal, is what you're saying.
In the pores, correct.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
if you were to put it on your fingers and rub your fingerprints, you would impregnate your fingerprints, and it would leave a, in your, like my fingers are always, silky smooth. So that's why everybody goes, yeah, you got soft hands. Like, no, it's silk.
It's got soft. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm going to use for hand moisturizer going forward is Ultra Silk. Why not? That's awesome, man. Dude, you've got hell of a history, hell of a background. Let's hear about Andy. Andy, I know you've got some really cool stuff going on. Obviously, the hat, the T-shirt, and the 6 banners behind you.
Just Mac Dev, Immortal,
Just,
one of my chapter team Storm Riders,
just a couple.
Just a couple.
Just a couple, man. So let's talk about your background. Because I think I met you actually on, oh my God, I've forgotten his name.
Steve McGuire, popular paintball podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. the most, anyways. Yeah, I met you on Steve's podcast, and you've got some pretty cool stuff going on. You've got, so there's the, oh my God, the Expendables is the team.
Yep.
You're with MacDev, and then obviously, is it Ally or Ally?
Allie remembered.
Ally remembered, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's very. I don't know what the right word for it is. It's a great cause. It's a great program. It's a terrible reason for it to exist, I guess is.
That's a good way to sum it up. Never put it that
Right?
way.
Yeah. I'm like tripping all over the words because I don't want to do it
Well,
disservice.
it's a non-profit 501c3 that's domestic violence related.
There. That's a way more graceful way to put it.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hear about your background. How'd you get started? What's going on? And then after that, we're going to get into the World Cup, and I want to hear all about it.
Started in paintball. I'm not as as illustrious as Cesare is, but I was at 1989. Had a friend that I was in college, or it's actually our instructor, when I was living down in Florida for my rescue tech class for paramedics. I was like, "Yeah, you should come out and play paintball with us." And I was like, "Never heard of it," and so I went out that one weekend and got hooked and addicted, and never looked back with that. And 3 years later, moved back to Denver from Florida and got in with Guy Cooper and ProStar Sports, which back in the day was a distributor. And we were, he wrote and I helped out with bits and pieces of it. But Paintball Field Operator's Guide, which we sold, I don't even know how many hundreds of those worldwide, getting people into starting fields and teaching them and traveling around, and showing new entrepreneurs how to start stuff and run their fields efficiently and all that. And played, MPPO and NAPSA and WPF and, up to the NXL.
Every other acronym.
Yeah. Everything back in the day.
Yeah. And you're involved with MacDev as well.
Yeah, actually, I'm the one of the MacDev ambassadors here in the U.S. So they actually had come to me through another friend, and because I'd never even shot one of the markers, and I was like, I got my Lux and my Ace sitting here, and hey, these things were great, and they their manager Federico, who lives in Italy, hit me up one day, and he's like, I want you to try these, and we want to get involved with the foundation. So I was like, all right. So I ended up getting an XTS. Now I've got one of everything, and tried those out. And it's like, these things actually shoot phenomenal. So I sold my Lux to my son and my Ace to another guy out in Connecticut somewhere. And now I shoot nothing but MacDev. But they're a big sponsor, and supporter of the Allie Remembered Foundation. So
it's great to hear.
we love that.
That's awesome.
Because it's a paintball company that wants to, they'll put their name in front of us and supporting our cause, what we're doing in our mission with domestic violence. So, hats off to them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, they do make a great marker. I'd love to own a MacDev one of these days.
I can sell you one.
I'm broke as hell, dude. I've got what is it? As poor as a church house rat and the credit score of a homeless ghost. So
See, I'll get you one, and then you send it to Caesar like I did, and you get your whole, MacDev. I got my clone 5 Infinity. He boom treated that thing, and when I got it back, I couldn't use it at Woodsball World Cup because obviously it's not mechanical, and the XTRs, which is our mechanical gun, will be available here in the States pretty soon.
woo.
Been on wait because manufacturing issues overseas, but oh my God, I back up everything Caesar does because when I took that thing out of the box and started to shoot it and played with it, I was like, wow, this is a whole different marker.
Just smooth as silk.
Smooth, yeah.
It's
I pulled the engine out of the back because I went to grab it and yank it up to pull everything apart, and I couldn't even grip it because it was so slick. I'm just like, I got to
Caesar,
pry
you're not
this
supposed
thing
to grease
with
the
a
outside of it,
screwdriver
dude.
now.
It's just you're not supposed to grease the whole outside of the marker too. Just the internals by.
Yeah, it was
all you're
just a
supposed to
boom treatment.
well, the boom treatment gets coated everything on the outside. Was when I impregnate everything, it goes in the tank. Everything gets dipped, so it's not just not the O-rings. It's not just the inside bore. Like when I do the barrels, all the freak inserts get done. The whole thing. I can't just do the inside because it goes in a tank just like anodizing. So the whole insert gets coated. It's not even a coating, it's impregnation. It goes into the pores. So if you were to ever break a ball in your inserts, it's going to blow through. What happens is a second ball acts like a squeegee, and the third ball starts flying straight again.
Ooh. Hey, Charles made it into the chat, so he's here with us in spirit. Real quick, I want to go back. There was a question. Douglas, I'm not even going to try your last name. He said he's first hearing of this event. He means the Woodsball World Cup. He says, were Canadians allowed to cross to go play? I imagine Canadians are allowed to compete. I just don't think you can get through the border.
Well, you guys had to do your 2-week quarantine if you were to cross the border, correct? If you would have flown.
Yeah, so if we could, I think what the rule was is we could get into the U.S., but if we came back, it's a 2-week quarantine, and it's a 2-week quarantine at a special hotel, which is like $2,000 or some nonsense like that. So it's just easier to just not travel yet. Even traveling within Canada is a bit of a pain in the ass. If I want to go 5 hours east, I cross a border and then I have to quarantine for 2 weeks. So
what province are you in?
I'm in New Brunswick, which is north of Maine. And if I want to go to Quebec or Nova Scotia, either side of me, it's a 2-week quarantine. So it is what it is. But hopefully that'll be gone in August. That's what they're talking about. They're saying in August it'll be back to normal.
Yeah, our state's opening up. Like our bars are going to be open, past midnight now, and
nice.
July 1st, miraculously it's going to be gone. Everything's supposed to be opened up here in Michigan July 1st.
Yeah, they're talking about August 2nd for us. They're they're counting numbers or something. I don't know, whatever. Whenever they greenlit it, that means I could start making money again because I'm in the alcohol business. So it's restaurants and bars, once they open up full 100% again, make some real money. It's going to be great.
But you can go to a liquor store and get liquor.
Yeah, but there's except liquor stores in New Brunswick are terrible. I shouldn't say that live, but they're a crown corp. They're owned by the government.
Right.
So it's not private business. There's one company that runs all the liquor stores in New Brunswick. There's no competition. They basically say like, tough, deal with it or don't. So yeah, it's not great. Oh well, is what it is. So yeah, to answer your question there, Douglas, you probably could have gone if you didn't have to work. Because I don't think there's any issue getting down there. So you obviously both have like a crazy background or an extensive background at the very least in paintball, and you guys were just at the Woodsball
World Cup.
Thank you. The Woodsball World Cup 2021 down at New York. That was at Paintball?
Paintball
Sports.
Paintball Sports. That's what it was. Yeah.
Jerry Bronsfield.
Yeah. And it's so for those who don't know what this is, it's basically, I don't think the format has really changed in 20 years. Has it? It's all mechanical. It's a slower pace. It's in the woods, obviously.
It was a slower pace for us.
Right. So what was it like? Walk me through it. Give me some highlights. Give me some funny stories. I heard Cesare did a hell of a dead man's walk. I want to hear about that.
I got video footage of that. Yeah.
We got to get that released.
Connor's got.
Basically, you have your 10-man format where you usually, you have 2-3 guys break down a wire, 2-3 guys go down another wire, and you got a group of guys that go push down the middle, and you try to create to where you got a horseshoe effect to where you can start, getting all the angles, and right. The best way to explain it is if you can physically just keep crossing up on people and just getting the angles and moving down the wire, you can physically pinch people out of bunkers and just start, sideways on them. A lot of times I tried to get sideways on people, and I was screaming my head off certain games, and we're all trying to, and it's a lot of communication, especially when you're going from one side of the wire all the way to the other side of the tape. It takes good communication. You need a good quarterback, basically. To put it in layman's terms, you have to have a quarterback that can see what's going on across the field and see where everybody needs to go. So Andy was doing a great job quarterbacking.
I'm trying, but you can't see, side to side half the time on the the field we played most of the games on because it dropped off. So you could be losing your whole, depending on what side you're on, you could be losing like your whole left side down over the hill and not even know it until you start to see, heads coming up through the trees, and you're like, those our guys running away? Or was that the other team that broke through? And yeah, so 10-man is a blast, to put it mildly. It's they got 10-man at the NXL, which is all on inflatable fields. That's fun in one sense, but when you get out into the woods and you have to break it down, the strategy is so much different.
Yeah, definitely. You've got your natural bunkers, like you got your unnatural bunkers, artificial bunkers in the woods. Like you got the structures that are built, but also you've got to take into account, like you could have a bush that you could see through, but there's no way you're getting a ball through it. You know what I mean? Like it's always fun when you find those bunkers, because that's where I started, was in the woods. That's still where I play a lot. And you sort of like, you can see him and he can see you, but you can't hit each other because the balls are just hitting every twig that they can.
Well, you get all those trees in between too, so you might be looking at a guy and you'll come up and you'll start to shoot, but your mind, with all the trees in between, that guy could be standing completely dead center in front of you
Yeah.
at 50, 60 feet, and put 3 or 4 trees in between, and your brain just scrambles and you'll never hit the guy. You try and you'll keep missing, and you keep just stepping back and forth in between trees, right, and you just play that game all day long too.
100%.
And there's also the tree walking method. I mean, you can use different trees to line up to block yourselves from different people, and you can just walk the trees standing upright. As long as you got your gun in front of you, your gun's your bunker, and then you use the other trees to block everything from everybody else, and you just tree walk.
Yep. Yeah, we called it ghost walking or shadow walking, when you could just sort of move up the field. Nobody sees you for whatever reason, and then suddenly you just sort of pop out, like you said, to the side of them where they're not expecting you to be there, and then you just can rip a hole through their line and away you go. So there was the big deal about this event was the idea of getting the band together. I guess is they're getting the band back together. So what was that like? Tell me, like, what was there? Was there like a different energy? Was there a buzz? I know a lot of people were very excited about Tom Kay and Bud Orr, and I guess they were kind of excited about you guys. But
so basically, you got Fred and Bill Bailey.
And Fred,
they were all speaking about it, on his show, and he's just like, oh, it'd be great to put the band back together, and that's how the name stuck.
And, that's a great way to do it.
Let's get the band back together, because, he had Constant Pursuit back in the day, and, but that's how it got together. So Fred, me personally, when I got asked to come on the team, I blocked out who asked me. All I
Were you
heard
just that
was,
excited?
I just like, wow, I get to play with, people that, we all looked up at. And, me personally, I was, in '88, I was looking up to all those people. I mean, they started paintball. So,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, how, and I got asked to play. And, I kept saying I don't belong in this group because, I didn't really, create paintball. There's a few things that I might have innovated and done for the game and, stuff like that in my, my sense. But, I made my mark, and I'm making my mark again. So, I was just glad that they asked me, with Fred and, and Bill and those guys, and, playing with Bud and hanging out with Bud. The conversations having with Bud. I mean, I had many conversations with Bud years. I mean, back in, I went to Jeff's wedding, his son's wedding. We had conversations then, 25
awesome.
years ago. So it's not like I never knew these people. I've known them. It's just, but the atmosphere there, I don't think you could ever recreate it, because everybody got together for the first time. I got to meet Andy for the first time. We spoke on the phone, and I literally.
It wasn't the first time. I talked to you World Cup on NXLs.
Yeah, but I mean, talking about like.
Talking, like, getting down. And...
yeah, talking like conversations that we had. I mean, damn, dude, you slept next to me.
Right.
That's wild.
Just the learning. I mean, that's I know Caesar was out there for most of it, but it was that Thursday night we all got there, and of course, it was late, and all those guys, we're all in the same hotel, so everybody's sitting upstairs. There's kind of this mezzanine area and couches, and they brought all the table or the chairs from outside patio in, so there's no, and just listening to the stories and the history and hearing about the things that back then, some of the things I knew, but the majority of it, I had no clue what was really going on between all of them. And we just, you couldn't even explain it. You had to just sit there and just, nobody
Just
spoke.
take it all in, eh?
Just take it all in. I'm just like, wow, wow. There's no way, I can't describe it. You know.
No, I imagine it must have just been, I mean, having that much history uh congregated in one space. You know what I mean? Like it'd be wild. And then I'm guessing that, well, like I said, when I had Bud on, and he's forgotten more than I'll ever learn. Kind of thing. He's been around for so long. He's been doing this for so long. Was there any point in time, like, did anybody fanboy at all at any point? And be honest, if you guys did.
You're talking about us to some of the people on the team?
Yeah, like not necessarily on the team, but like did anybody who, when you guys were there, did anybody at all? Not just anybody on the team, but like did anybody?
There were players from other teams that I know I had some come to me because they're like friends that I had never met, that I'm on Facebook type of a thing, and they
Gotcha.
were coming up like, oh my God, look at those guys behind you, and I'm like, yeah, I've known these guys like Caesar. I've known him, since the '80s. So I'm like, would you like to meet him? They're just like, and so there was that fanboying going on.
Okay, yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm asking. Is like, because
oh my God,
there's
sure, give me your camera. Come here, Bud. Come here,
We're
Dad.
all
Come here, Fred.
we're all humans. I mean, I'm approachable. I'm not gonna bite your head off. I'm not, to anybody out there. Hell, you want to call and talk? Call me at the shop. I mean, I have no problem talking to people on the phone and talking to anything. Any question you guys have, you can call me at the shop anytime. I mean, I have no problem talking to people.
No,
okay. I'm waiting to see if you guys get just a bunch of phone calls at the shop now, or I'll be bored at work or something and be like, I'm gonna call Caesar. Um,
Hey, call me. I'll take a time. Sometimes I'll have people call me on Facebook Live while I'm working building somebody's gun.
Zoe.
You know what I mean? They'll say, "Holy smokes, can I watch you do something?" I'm like, "Yeah, here you go." I'll prop the phone up and we'll have a conversation while they're watching me work. I got no
That's
problem.
cool,
I'm not
man.
hiding nothing.
that's cool.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
mean, a lot of people want to see their guns being put back together. I
Yeah.
mean, if I had this technology in the 2000s, not, 20
In the
years ago,
20s.
20 years ago, if I had this technology building every single supercocker, I think I could have sold the live feed to everybody that I built a gun for.
Oh man, that's a great idea. You should definitely live stream that more often, so people
No,
can
yeah.
watch them get to put together.
It
Do
just takes too long to build a gun. I'll have hours and hours building a gun. Each one of my supercocker builds takes me 3 to 5 hours.
Oh, that's
'Cause I
fine.
got-
Live stream it anyways. People will watch. People will jump
Yeah.
in, jump out. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Put it on Twitch and make money. Well, if you're gonna do it on Twitch, you got to be in a hot tub. Um, it's a bad joke. That's cool, man. I think you should definitely live stream it. I want to see them getting built. At the very least, you should put up a video at least once. I want to see them get put together at least once.
I did a video on Ultra Silk. I put together Will Arroyo's EMAC, and I went through on why I do everything and how I apply the grease and how I do. There's one of those videos on it, and and I fumbled through it because it was my first video. A buddy of mine always told me, wash, rinse, and repeat, and you will get better. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Just do it over and over, and you're going to get better.
100%, man. 100%.
This is probably my, I don't know, dozenth interview since I've been back to doing this video stuff, and I feel more comfortable, I guess.
You get there. I went back and rewatched one of my first live videos, and it was just horrible. Just so cringeworthy. So yeah, I like that. Just, wash, rinse, repeat. You'll get better at it.
Yeah. Buddy of mine, Mark Hicks, says it all the time. Wash, rinse, and repeat.
Hicks. I know that name. Why do I know that name?
You know it. Come on. He's a media guy for Lone Wolf.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, the name just stuck. I knew it. Damn it.
He's the media. He's the actual guy that does all the videos.
Yeah, for Lone Wolf.
He does all the video stuff for Lone Wolf.
That's where it is. See, I'm terrible with names. I'll remember a face, but I'm terrible with names. So my thing is I just call everyone Bud, and then I never forget a name, and it works out way too well. So tell me about this dead walk, man, because dead walk is not something that is really done anymore. So, and now we have the views are going to go through the roof now that we got a dog in the frame.
Yep. So
actually, one of Tom's dogs. Tom came back.
We were, we were playing against the All A's 2, and during the event, I was like, how big these fields are, I can pull off a dead man's walk because they're so big. It's like, and you can physically hide your walk. Nobody can see you. So I was on the right wire, and I was going over to a berm to where I could see 3 guys coming up that right wire, and as they were coming down the wire, I was able to shoot one of them. And then as they were shooting that back at me is when I grabbed my pods. I grabbed all my pods, I stood up, and I started walking towards the dead box. Well, the dead box was in the opposite corner past the flag. So as I'm walking that way, I could see 4 guys coming down the middle. So I'm trying to figure out how I can get those 4 guys and then reset up to maybe get somebody else as I'm coming down. So now I am cross my dead box. They come or cross the flag station. They come around the flag station and go up over the berm because that's where I was. The minute I saw the 4th guy turn his back is when I lifted my gun and just put a rope out. By the time I got to the 4th guy, I could see the first guy dead. He's like, they're already dead. All my balls are already in the air. I know I can hit them. I hit them all. So then one of the guys turned and spun on me, which if I would have thought about it, I would have told them to pull a 2-for-1 for that, and they would have pulled 2 more guys down further on the field.
Yeah.
But they were coming down the wire. So the ref comes over to me again, and he goes, you're clean. I'm like, all right, cool. So I put my gun down, and I have to reload now. I have no more paint in my gun. So I am walking with my hands down still, not even over my head. My hands are down, reloading with my left arm, and I'm walking. Then I stand in front of the dead box where they're all behind me. I'm on the field, and here comes 3 more coming down the field. And as soon as one gets in front of me 10 feet, I lift up my gun and take 2 more out. It was awesome.
Well, Charles in the chat said it's a work of art and that you won an Academy Award for it. That's awesome. See, that they don't do that anymore. Any field I've played at, they actually outright say no dead man walking, which I get it,
But what deems a dead man walk? The only time you significantly are dead is if your armband is off and your gun is over your head. I can walk from one side of the field to the other side of the field to get into another position with my guns down. You never see people run with their guns in front of them like this. You can't run balanced that way. So you walk, with your gun down and you walk across the field. So what is the true definition of a dead man's walk?
Right. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, if I see you walking, I send a ball anyways, just to be sure.
Correct. Because the only time you should not be shooting at a person is if their gun's over their head or arms over their head. If you got one arm over your head, you are considered a dead man. So guess what? No one ever walks in front of me without one arm up in the air.
Yep. I've been given the dirty looks on the field because I was sitting somewhere shooting away, and then somebody walks past me, nothing's up, no arm up. Double tap them, and then I get yelled at, "Hey, I'm out. Your arm's not up, bro."
Yep.
Right? Got to be sure. And also, you walked in front of me. Come on now. I'm just gonna double tap you anyways. Andy, is that the shirt in the background from the? I want to see it. I want to see the band. Getting the band together. Look at that. You know it's real when you guys get a T-shirt made. Oh,
Andy, where's the signed one?
What's that?
Oh, that is the signed one. Look at that signature right in the middle.
Look at that. The big, massive one? Is that what you
Yeah, the Pizzo.
Yep. Yeah, we all
That's
got
awesome.
things.
That is awesome. That shirt's going to be worth like $17 pretty soon. You just watch.
Did you see the blue ones though?
No.
Yeah, there's a blue.
I'm digging the yellow. I don't know why, but the yellow on the black just works for me. I like it. And
We
then,
got the band.
Yeah, just the classic, the band.
Yeah.
I like that. Blue with black.
However, look at this sponsor lineup.
What we got here? We got Viagra, we got Depends, Bengay, Ensure, Bayer, Low Dose, X-Lax. No Trojans.
Nope.
Why, don't eat them?
Yeah, these were.
That's great. That's awesome. I want a team needs to get legitimately sponsored by Viagra. I think that'd be great. That's when you know paintball's made it into like the mainstream and is legitimate when Viagra sponsors you. I think they sponsor NASCAR.
Yeah,
That's barely a sport.
Yeah, there is NASCAR.
there is.
That's awesome. I love it. That's great. Andy, did you do any crazy stunts? Caesar's Dead Man walks pretty hard to top, but
No,
crazy
Cesare beat us all out on that one with the dead man's one.
yeah.
Unfortunately,
Badass.
I was actually on the field when he did that because he was behind me that game, and I had lost the ball detent from the cocker, so I was double, balling. So I just kept pouring and shooting. I'm like, well, two are coming out every time. I'm not going to play. Screw it, just whatever. Keep filling, keep shooting.
It's still semi.
Exactly. It looked a little funny with two balls coming out every trigger pull, but I'm like, whatever. No ball detent, so I kept shooting. And I turned around once and I saw Cesare walking, and I was like, shit, thought he was gone. And then I ended up getting hit. I stand up to turn around and I still see him walking, and I got to watch that whole thing from inside the field while he did it, and I just stood there laughing my ass off. Like, I'm just gonna stand right here and watch this and laugh like crazy because I got the best view, no net.
Right?
So
You're just there. You're in the action.
yeah,
Does Tom got anything to say? What's Tom want to say? Tom's there.
What's that?
he's like, what do you want to say? He didn't actually go play. This is Tom Boot.
No, but if he's in the frame, you might as well talk.
I just came over. My wife's teaching an online class, a yoga class for first responders. So she's
Hey, that's cool.
like, you got to go.
Take us there, Tom.
Yeah.
Take us there.
Oh, you don't want to go there, man. You don't want that. You thought you heard after a couple of days of New York paintball.
Right.
Yeah, no. No, my wife does yoga.
He was one of those MPPL head refs back in the day. So
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I ref.
Is that all?
I ref the pro field from 2004 to 2009.
Cool. Any tips? You got any tips? I'm actually going to try and ref an open speedball day. In a month? It's going to be the first time I've refed a speedball match. Any
Hydrate.
tips? Hydrate. Gotcha.
Hydrate.
Okay.
Hydrate the day before. Hydrate the day of. They will cheat. There are no honest.
They will cheat.
will
Yes.
cheat.
I've heard plenty of them say outright, like, I'm not out if the ref doesn't call me.
That's true.
Like that's
Absolutely true.
So,
And unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's that's transferred over to my plane, and when I first took the class in 2004, it was a whole weekend class, and the instructor. I mean, we went through drills and what to look for and how to act and all this stuff. And at the end of the class, he's like, so what did everybody learn? What did you learn? Tom, what did you learn this weekend? I went, man, I learned how to cheat like a mofo.
Yeah. All right.
Right?
But yeah, I mean, my first day, I was I went to, I was reffing the Spider field. That's back in the day. We had like 5 fields or so, and that was Friday. Saturday, the head ref, or the ref in charge, came over and said, "Boot, I need you to grab your gear, and I need you to come with me." And I was like, "Oh man, I got fired." Like, I sucked that bad. There were some pro prelim games, on our field, and I was like, "I sucked that bad." Okay, and my head ref came over, and he's like, "Where are you taking Tom?" He's like, "Oh, I'm moving him to field 1, which happened to be the NPPL field, the pro field." He's like, "I'm taking him to," he's like, "We were watching him yesterday," and he's like, "No, take anybody else." He's like, "Take 2 of my guys." So I'm like, "No, I don't want to go to the pro field. I've only been reffing 1 day." Yeah, yeah, they're gonna absolutely kill me. But yeah, I mean, I stayed on the pro field for like 5 years.
That's cool.
That was
That's
pretty cool.
awesome.
It was pretty cool.
Okay.
And when I
So
left,
hydrate and expect them to cheat.
towel.
Got it.
It's funny. Take a towel, take a hand towel, fold it in half, tuck it down the front, and just drape it
Right.
over. It's
Good protection.
good protection.
Hand towel.
Yeah.
Beach towel.
Beach towel. Hey, I've
towel.
seen the beach towel. I'm like, come on, guys. You have to run to pull somebody out sometime. Beach towel gonna get tangled.
Tripping over it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
good,
And stand firm. Stand firm on your calls. Don't let them beat you up. And I'm like, and I've had the big players. I mean, you've seen the big players. I've had the Frazies, the Greenspans, the Baines, Lasoyas. I've had them all, getting in your face. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, get to the dead ball. Actually, you'll take a buddy with you.
Yeah, I hold the power here, bud.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you ever have one of the Russians yell at you? Is that scary when
No,
they
but I
like
got
break into
knocked
mother
out.
tongue?
I did get knocked out by one of the Swedes. Playing.
Sorry, not to laugh, but like,
Yeah, no. I forget what year. Tampa. I knew it was Tampa because actually I have the video of it. Tampa. Gosh, it was one of the 10th. I think it was the only Tampa event or second Tampa event. Joy divisions. I forget who they were playing. But I was at the 50, playing the 50 ref, and they were just shooting down the Dorito side, just going at it, like not stepping off their guns. And guy in the center 50 here, he gets shot out, and he wasn't coming out, so I ran, grabbed him, pulled him out, and as I was running back to the sidelines, I could see just a rope. It was just, back then it was uncapped semi. And it's just this silly string going. And I took a dive, and I dove to go underneath the stream. And as I did that, I think they just saw somebody thought they were trying to fill a spot, and I took like 3 to the temple. And I kind of got to my knee. I kind of got to my knee to go out, and that was the last thing I remembered.
then you woke up.
Yeah, I woke up. It could only been a few seconds, but I was on the sidelines. My buddies, my refs and stuff were over there and helped me to get to the side. And I was just like, oh man, that hurt.
Oh, dude, I can only imagine. My God, that's wild.
Yeah.
Now I'm scared.
Nah. It's not bad. Just stand firm. You'll be fine.
Cool. I'm gonna try. It's gonna be a good time. There's another guy who's like the other guy, the head ref. He's just like, I'll teach you. He says, I'll make all the calls. He's like, I just need somebody to. He's like, I can't run, so I just need somebody to run. I'm like,
Hey.
I can do that.
Yeah, if you make that motion, you give that motion, the hand, the point and stuff, and player, giving that player out, player out. And if he looks at you and he sees that hand going, yeah, he has now acknowledged that, yes, I am indeed pointing at you. Get out. Because if I have to run and get you out, you're taking a buddy with you.
Okay, I'll try and remember that one. Yeah, it's like I seen you look at me, and
Yeah,
you know I'm
I
pointing
see
at
you.
you.
You were looking at me.
Get off my field.
Yeah.
Okay. See, it's gonna be interesting too, because like the field that I'm gonna be reffing at is like a 6-minute drive from my house.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, except I don't play there that often. I tend to drive like an hour and a half down the highway. It's kind
Is
of
it a big walk-on field close to your house? Is that why?
no. No, it's more like he churns out rentals is more what he's about. So I mean, it's not a bad field. They're not bad guys. It's just not. I don't know. The field's not bad. It's just not something that.
It's private parties. That's his main cup of business.
And that's where he makes all his cash, and I totally get it, which is great because it keeps him open, so I can rush down and be like, dude, I need O-rings now. You know, so
These
it's
players
great.
don't know, man. These players don't know nowadays. It's your rentals and your walk-ons. That's what's
Dude,
keeping
yeah.
these fields open. It's not your speedball players. Life hard. It is not your speedball players.
No, we seen a bigger turnout when everything got shut down because there was no tournaments. Like the fields were doing better because the guys weren't saving all their money for the 4 tournaments that are a year. They were instead going out every walk-on and throwing like a little bit of money. But yeah, it's definitely those birthdays and all that jazz. So yeah, I'm 100% for supporting that. The bachelor parties, watching the guys run the gauntlet for some god-awful reason.
Well, rec
They think
players
it's
are the
macho.
backbone of the sport. They always have been. They always will be.
Yeah.
They tried to get me to run the
Absolutely.
gauntlet for my birthday a couple months ago. Like, hey, you gonna run the gauntlet, Tom? Like, no.
You didn't.
No,
No.
it's my birthday. You run the gauntlet. Like, it's like-
16 years old. I am not running the gauntlet. Go
Right?
right? Stand, young man.
yeah, I'm 31. I don't run. Like that's so,
What kind of gun do you play with, Brad?
it depends on the day, but lately I've been using the my invert mini a lot. I just replaced the board in it because the board went into the greatest way ever. It didn't matter what I programmed it to; it went to uncapped semi, no matter what. So I was in the middle of a tournament, and I was on the field, I was playing away, and then one of the guys was just like, "That don't sound like 10." I'm like, "I don't know, man. I set it to 10." And then we put it under the under the radar there, and it's like 7.5. And I was like, "Nah, it's definitely not 7.5." And the ref's like, "I don't know, man. Technology says it's 7.5. Keep playing." Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
And then we
had one of our players get a huge major 10-5. He was shooting
18, 19.
It was I think it was 18-5.
18.5.
18-5 in a 10-5 semi.
Yeah, so it was supposed to be like 8.5 or 9.5 or something like that, and then it was working fine, and then it stopped working fine, and then we tested it, and when he tested it said 7.5, and I was like, "There's no way it's 7.5." Anyways, I went down to like one finger. It's the only way I could ensure that I wasn't doing too much. And then like a week later, we got a new upgraded system, and we checked it. It was like 20.5, and I was like, "Yeah, I need a new board." That's what's
He was like, I'm so fast. I'm so fast.
Yeah, we tested. I was like, "This is great." And all of them, everyone in the field is just like, "You can't compete. Like, you're not allowed." I'm like, "Fine, $70. I need a new board. Let's rock and roll." So yeah, I do that. It's normally on my wall right here. Actually, yeah. It's a bright orange. It's
You
a
know,
burnt
we all
orange.
have the same kind of chairs. Like me, you,
Yeah, buddy.
Brad. Yeah, we all got some like giant gamer chair. Caesar's probably
Dude, I paid $200 for this thing. It's great
I know.
because I can lie down in it. Like I could just go
Yep.
straight back.
I could do that in mine over there too. I love it. It has a flip thing
So-
that pops
Yeah,
out.
me too.
Oh, mine doesn't have that. I had to go buy a foot thing. That's
Caesar's
good. I want the
"Hey, you
Cadillac. I
guys,
want
I'm
the
sitting
foot
on my
thing."
kitchen table.
Right.
No, now the amount of time I have to spend at my computer sometimes, I'm like, I need a good chair. So, okay, fellas, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. It's been almost an hour. It was great chatting. I'm glad that the Woodsball World Cup was awesome, and I love the fact that you did a dead man walk and basically conquered the field with it. We have Thomas Gee's got a hell of a comment here. Hold on, before we go. Recreational players are the lively blood of our sport. As Andrew said, and the rule of thumb is that when a rec player plays at a field 3 times in a year, he buys his own equipment. That should interest Cesare, and the revenue on that player decreases for the field owner.
Tom Gee's also the guy that hung the flag in the game we won too. So
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
That's all. Just the dude that hung the flag.
He's got a new
No
claim to
biggie.
fame as the official band flag hanger.
The one and only
'Cause
flag.
he's the one and only flag hanger.
The one and only flag in the tournament.
I heard there was some discussion back because me and Cesar were in that game too, and we were busy taking care of one side and yelling at each other and everything. It was like we were trying to get them to push through, and they got up there, and we weren't up there at the flag because we were still busy hammering the other side of the field because there were still two guys left. So I ended up, Cesar and me and Gene were moving up. I ran down the valley. These guys, I think they were trying to decide up at the flag station. I don't know if they were flipping coins or something as to who was going to pull it. Because Fred was like, well, if I pull it, I got to run it back. No, you pull it. I think there was like this Life cereal commercial going on up there at the flag. No, you pull it. No, you pull it. But eventually Tom ended up grabbing it and ran it back and got back. And I don't know if you'd seen the pictures and the video footage, but Tom got within like a couple of feet of that flag station and was basically tanked and out of gas and came to a screeching halt. And all I could hear, I'm pretty sure Cesar heard him, there's a whole bunch of refs, up there, like 6 or 7 of them standing there going, "You can do it, Tom. Come on. You can do it." Like Marine Corps boot camp. And you're trying to last, 30 seconds or something going on. And they're like, well, I guess watching the time, like, "Come on, Tom." And he finally got there and did it. So hats off to Tom for that courageous run back and hang.
That's awesome. Show him Tom's signature on these shirts. See if you can see it. Tom has one of the great signatures I've ever seen for,
Well, let's see. This one.
Apparently, Tom said he let Cesar run the right to his death so I could shoot out everyone in the middle and went into the flag station.
Right?
I came from the left side, and I tried moving everybody to the right side, and I'm pushing everybody up, and I need them all to stand up and shoot their guns so I can go get a guy, right. And the guy got me, and then they all shot him. And that's when I went to my death it didn't matter. Someone was going to die to go get this guy.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually have Toms on any of these because these are.
Why would you? Tom's would be in one of the top right corners. He always did it in the top right corner.
These are the ones we had at the table in the staging area that we were getting signed for.
What about your black one?
I don't actually see it on there. I'm going to have to bring it back and get him to do it.
Let me see the shirt. I'll turn it around and see if I can see it.
Yeah, no, because I know what you're talking about, and it's not on there. We had so many of these things getting signed, we couldn't hardly keep up. And poor.
What about the band? The black and yellow one, the black and gold one.
I don't know. No, I think we missed it.
Nope. Oh my God, you didn't get Tom's signature.
Well, no, I did,
Tom.
But I think I gave because I had a couple extras of these, and who was it? Renee. Sorry, Rennie. He lost some. So what was that? Sunday or Monday morning before we took off, I gave him a couple of shirts, and then Happy has a couple of shirts that went missing Friday too. So I know Alex was running around with these trying to get them signed back and forth because we're going to auction these things off in September for the charity event. So I don't think these actually circulated. So I have to send it out to Tom. Let me check one more though.
So what you're saying is in September I might have a chance to get one. Might be able to get it on that auction.
Yeah, at his event in Denver, if you come.
That's
to
fine.
it.
I'll get someone to on the phone or something. I'll do it like how rich people
This
do.
one's all another one that's all. But I don't think Tom got to these. Everybody else did.
Tom, you dropped the ball, buddy.
That's all right. We'll get Tom to sign it.
You grabbed the flag, but you dropped the ball.
Hey,
Yeah.
that was the whole thing. I was like, and me and Cesar were talking before that event, and I was like, we are playing with the industry icons, and what an honor, that was to play with those guys. So I was happy to Caesar to be invited. And we're like the youngest, of the group, minus we had Adrian Alvarez, who's like 16 playing with us. But really, me and Caesar are I'm 52, but everybody else was over that. And we're, we've played paintball and tournament paintball in the last 5 years, right? So we were like, I don't know how we'll strategize. What will we do? Will this just be a free for all? And our only consensus was, let's just win one game. Yeah, I would. That's it. As long as we can win one, and then we're going to walk out of this thing heroes, with our heroes, and it's going to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
epic, to say the least, of a lifetime
Just to play with
experience.
some of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, being there was a win. The whole thing. I mean, that was just
it was a win. Yeah,
situation. I mean, that's a win.
100%.
You know what I
100%.
mean,
It's going to happen again
like
next year, right? And then I'm going to come down. I'm going to hang out.
Yep.
It's going to be a good time.
where is it?
Yeah, and I
It's already
believe
in.
they already have 20 teams registered. I believe already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what Tom was saying. 20 teams registered, and they haven't even announced the date yet. And
Nope.
I'm sure by next year. And New York's not that far from where I am. I think it's like a 10-hour drive.
Well, there's two dates for it, but Kevin hasn't said which date he's going with. So, but it's $100 to enter. It's a 36 team cap. So, if you want to get a 10-man in, you better hit up Kevin Donaldson and get that $100 paid.
I don't know if I know 10 people.
You got a year,
I'll register the team and then fill it later.
right? There you go.
That's what, right?
it's
That's what we'll
$100
do.
to hold your team.
Hold it.
It's to
Hold
hold
it.
a spot,
Spot.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure I could wrestle up 110 people. It'd be nothing. I know enough people that I was just like, we're going to New York. We're gonna go play some paintball.
That's going to be hard.
Not at all. Not at all. So, fellas, it's been a blast chatting. That's awesome. Glad to hear everything went so well and that you guys, had a good time. And I'm hoping that, I want to go to that event. I want to play the Woodsball World Cup. I want to do that. I want to play in that.
Well, mechanical in general is so much more laid back and
Yeah.
relaxed.
Easier to fix. Don't have to worry
Go
about
to
batteries.
NXLs, and I can tell you one thing, and of course, we got chapter teams under I remember that play NXL, and me and Caesar are at them and stuff, and it's tournament paintball. It's fun, it's exciting, everybody wants to win, it's highly competitive. We had the same thing here with that, but it was such a different environment. It was actually fun to get back into the woods and not have the same kind of ego and anger and all that kind of going on because you didn't make Sundays and people are yelling and screaming at each other. Yeah, I mean there's a few questionable calls. We had one on us, and it's water under the bridge now, and a guy ran through and played on, and that's whatever. But the event and just playing mechanical like ICC and everything else, it's so much more relaxing and more enjoyable because the stress factor just wasn't there. Now, granted, on our team, the stress factor wasn't there because we were there to have a good time, and
Right.
that was what it was all about. But even all the other teams that we were talking to, the Pirates and Ground Zero Gold and the All Americans, I mean, and you had Dave and Weeze, from the OG Ironman playing with them, and they were still not stressed about it. I mean, they ended up winning, but and you could tell they had it in them to go and play. But it's so much fun. So we encourage
Yeah, and
everybody
that's what I want
get out.
to be a
No,
part of.
everybody did a great job. I mean, like I said, I was honored that Fred and Bill and those guys asked me to come and get to hang out with Andy and Bud for an hour and just shoot the shit. I don't know if I like driving with Andy, but he goes from point A to point B fast.
Hey, Fred taught me how to drive. What do you want? Sorry.
There you go. All right, fellas. We're gonna wrap it up.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm gonna get out of here and.
I was surprised you lasted this long, man. You handled the entire hour.
I got 20 more minutes I can hang.
Oh, okay. Well, we're about the hour mark, so I think we'll wrap it up. But closing remarks. Who you guys want to shout out before we go?
Just like to thank, like I said, Fred and Bailey and William Bailey for inviting me, and all the guys that played on the band, Bud, guy that, got me where I was today, and, the industry for taking me back and in open arms.
For welcoming you back, yeah.
Yep. So,
Andy, what do you want to shout out, bud?
I have to thank our sponsors, Ultra Silk.
There you go. Oh, you got.
No, it's Mac, Dev, Virtue, all that kind of stuff. That's a whole Ellie Remembered thing, and for our teams. But no, I think that the big shout out right now needs to go to the players.
Ooh.
Not the sponsors. Obviously, I've got Ultra Silk and all my guns, and I could sit here and talk about that all night. I think we need to do a shout out to the players in the sport.
The people who drop hard cash.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
They're the heroes.
That's what keeps this sport going.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The kids, it's the teams, it's the kids, it's the rec players, it's the MagFed guys, it's Scenario, Woodsball. It doesn't matter. If you're a paintball player, my hat's off to you, and that's where the shout out needs to go for keeping the sport up and going and growing and continuing like we are. So that's
for throwing some money out there and keeping the fields open. And we lost a few over the last year or so, but I think for the most part, it came out pretty clean.
Yeah.
Well, just like he said, Brad, if it wasn't for the support of all the teams that, help, keep me afloat, up going, it's, that's who keeps us going.
100%. Absolutely. Okay. With that, thanks for everyone who stuck around chatting in the comments with us and like and share the video and all that. So really appreciate it. And hopefully maybe I'll see some of everyone at the at a Woodsball World Cup next year, 2022. It'll be a good time.
We'll be there.
Plan it. I'll save some cash. I'll save my pennies.
We got a ladies team already entered too. That's going to be all female only.
Cool. Very cool.
Heads up. So yeah.
Awesome. I'll see if I can convince the wife to come next year. She plays. So
tell her to hit up.
Yeah, she plays.
Get on that
her markers on the wall too. Yeah. So that's it. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or comments, feel free to shoot me a PM or leave something on the page, or call Cesar at the shop, I guess. If you
call me at the shop, Lone Wolf Paintball. I'm there every day.
Call him at the shop and yeah. And what else? I don't know. Support, Ali Remembered. Go take a look at that. That's a great cause. So
great foundation.
Great foundation. Go support them any way you can. But that's it. We're out of here. So until next week, cheers. All right.